Good afternoon to those who will listen. It is April 3rd, 2018, 5:32 p.m. And this is my video about some predictions, some theories, possibilities that could happen about the third temple being rebuilt. And first off, I'm going to show you a little tiny video. Oh, I gotta make sure I mute this. Hold on. Okay, I'll kind of play this in the background while I'm explaining things, but this is what they're going to, this is how they have the architectural plans for this. It's like a 3D version, and it gives you stage ones of how they're, how the temple is going to look when it's completed. So I got this came from Breaking Israel News, and it's from the Third Temple Archives. I'll leave a description in the link, and there's a whole bunch of articles from like the last year and a half or even more, but I'm just went back like a year and a half. Most of it's from just the last year. But I'll leave the description in the link for that, and you can go and check out the articles yourself. I'm just going to try to do a brief summary of each little article that's on there and describe everything the best that I can. I have a bold prediction to make about some of the Bible prophecy that might be happening. It's just a possible theory, so don't take it as a fact, but it fits. It fits, so let's see what else. First off, let's do a little bit of current news. The Saudi crown prince recognizes Israel's right to exist, and the Saudi king supports the Palestinians and their own state, and Jerusalem as their capital. But we know that Israel will have Jerusalem as its capital, undivided capital, eternal capital. And I just make sure you kind of read these articles yourself, because I'm not going to read everything in there. It's way too long. But I believe this is paving the way. Each is a little tiny step towards this being rebuilt and fulfilling a Bible prophecy. None of the Bible prophecy can be fulfilled until the third temple is rebuilt. So this is why the third temple being rebuilt is such a big thing in Bible prophecy. It's a key thing. So this thing should be about done with this part. Let's see where we're at. I got another minute to go. But let's just do a quick prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for another day. And please, Lord, just have open people's minds and hearts and ears and eyes to see what you want us to see and hear about the Bible prophecies. And please, Lord, just give me the words to say, to describe this to the best of my ability, so people can understand what this is all about. Thank you in your name, amen. And I'm just going to let this one finish. And then I got another one that I'm just going to play in the background, so you guys, don't have nothing in there in the background to see. So that's it for that one. And let me find the one. There it is. Okay, I'm just going to play this in the background, so you have something, because otherwise... Is it going to play? What's going on? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't have live streaming, so I don't have the share screen option. So I can't put this stuff on another page, so I have to do it kind of a different way. I'm just kind of like recording the TV screen. So, all right, here we go. So that little intro took 4 minutes. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I went back through the archives on this third temple, and I came up with highlights for each thing. There's a Nascent Sanhedrin, and it's a group of 71 elders, and they're trying to get the third temple plans and all the preparations for it done now. And a lot of the preparations have already been done, and they're prepared for a lot of it. But the borders for Jerusalem have to be set first for the holy site. So for the Jews to have that holy site, it has to be a certain area. I'll describe that more a little bit later. So I went back. The the nascent Sanhedrin, which is that group of 71 elders, they're calling on Israel's greatest enemy, Iran, to follow tradition and build the third temple. They need other things to happen to build this temple. It's a historical government of the Jewish people that involves a bicameral parliament system, which is like two branches of a parliamentary system. And this is their sixth attempt in the last 500 years to get this started up again with the third temple going. And this time it looks like they're having a lot more success, and a lot more people are behind it, including a lot of world leaders, other countries. All right, so starting back on August 29th of 2016, the Sanhedrin appoints a high priest in preparation for the third temple. And that's a significant step towards reinstating temple service. They have to have a high priest, or what they call I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, a Kohen Gadol. And once these conditions change, allowing the Jews to access the Temple Mount, they will be required by law to bring the sacrifices. And if that should happen, listen close, because temple service could begin in less than 1 week once they have all the preparations done. So as soon as they announce the borders, which would have to come like in a peace deal, then they could actually have this up and going, the sacrifices, the rituals of the third temple, within a week. So that's a key for later. And they just built the altar, so that's another thing that they had to do in preparation for this. All right, going into April 13th of 2017, the reenactment of the Omer. It's a barley offering, and it happened yesterday also, but back in April 13th of last year is when they were doing this too. And these are all like reenactments of the rituals that they have to do for the third temple, for all these different Jewish holidays. So, and I'll get to that again later too, but they use priestly garments and vessels prepared for the third temple. May 9th of 2017, 2,000 years ago, Prophet Nehemiah performed this temple rite to revive sacrifices, and now the Sanhedrin is reviving it again. They need to establish borders of Jerusalem for purposes of reinstating the temple service. It was last performed by Nehemiah in 600 BC. And the final step before beginning the sacrifices, they had to have the borders for Jerusalem around the city, around the holy site, before they could start the sacrifices and start the services, the third temple rituals again. Now, if the peace treaty is signed, they will have borders, and then the sacrifices that are required to be eaten in Jerusalem, that did make sense. Oh, once they have the borders, then the sacrifices that are required to be eaten in Jerusalem, they'll be able to do that. And such as peace offerings, the first fruits, and the paschal lamb sacrifice, they must be eaten inside the borders of the city, and establishing these borders designates the area of holiness. That's what I was trying to get to, sorry. May 24th of 2017, Jewish priests, this is the name of the, sorry. May 24, 2017, the name of this article is Jewish Priests' Biblical Status Confirmed by DNA. So in order to be ready to prepare for the third temple, they have to have Jewish descendants of Aaron. And they did DNA tests that supposedly confirms this, that they are descendants of Aaron. And the first high priest of Israel, the temple service can only be performed by descendants of Aaron, or the Kohanim. K-O-H-A-N-I-M. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, because I probably am. So they trace back the family tree 106 generations, and Elijah is supposed to appear before Messiah to determine who is a high priest and who is not. They're trying to, determine the high priest from the DNA, but it's also written that Elijah will come and determine who those high priests should and should not be. Okay, right now only Muslims are allowed to pray at the Temple Mount. Jews are not allowed. And once this peace treaty is signed, then Jews will be able to pray there, and that's what the ultimate goal is of building the third temple too. So June 4th of 2017, priests reenact temple first fruits offering, paving a way for a greater Jerusalem. And I encourage everybody just to read these individual stories. I'm just kind of going through them really fast, so I don't make this too long of a video. But that is supposed to establish the borders for a greater Jerusalem. So they have borders in their minds, but the final borders can't be done until this peace treaty is signed. June 27, 2017, the infrastructure to bring millions of pilgrims to Temple Mount quietly being constructed. So God commands that all Jews make their way to the temple 3 times a year. And they're building an express train from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem to the Western Wall. They're building a cable car system, and they're doing that to modernize the capital city. There's going to be new hotels put up, and the streets are going to be widened. In the Bible, it says that in the end that the wall and the streets will be rebuilt. Now, I don't know if this is being rebuilt or if it's just being like refurbished, remodeled, whatever, but they already have plans to modernize the city. So people can, so millions of people will be able to travel to the Temple Mount. And before, it's just been like tens of thousands. Now they're talking millions will be able to visit. August 8th of 2017, the Temple Institute hosts a conference of wine experts to reinstate temple wine. So they need superb wine for the temple service. It's called Alpha wine. And they also begin harvesting they've also started harvesting for the special fruit. And just read these stories. I'm just going through each one. So whenever I say a date, and then the title right after that. So you can go back and look at that. And please check out all these articles. September 20th of 2017, there was 5 signs that was considered fulfilled Bible prophecies. One was there's a biblical pillar of cloud that appears above Golan, and that was representing God protecting Israel from ISIS. 2, there was a rare red heifer eligible for the third temple offerings. They have to have a red heifer, and it has to be perfect in order for them to use in the sacrifices of the animal sacrifices. Number 3 was Exodus 7:18, is the Indonesian river turns blood red. And it describes more in the thing. I'm just going through them fast. 4, there was locusts of plagues worldwide, not everywhere, but there was all over the world, there was a plague of locusts. And number 5, Hurricane Irma recreates the splitting of the Red Sea in Florida and the Bahamas. I'm just going to keep moving on. October 23rd of 2017, they did a video, the Temple Institute, which we saw earlier. That was the video. And they put up a 3D architectural plan showing the glory of the third temple, and that's what we saw earlier in the very beginning of the video. November 16th of 2017, the Sanhedrin and the Mount Zion group, they're preparing oil for the temple, for the menorah, and that would fulfill Amos' prophecy on Jewish land, preparing olive oil to be used in temple rituals. They're preparing it now, so when the temple is ready, the oil can be used immediately. And they have to do a special thing with the oil. It has to be hand-pressed by hand, and only 2% of the oil comes out of the olives when that happens, but that's supposed to be the most pure oil, and only that oil can be used in these rituals. All right, December 7th. It was probably from December 6th, but the article was December 7th, and Trump recognizes Israel. I think it was December 6th. Trump recognizes Trump recognizes Jerusalem as capital of Israel, and it's another step to the third temple. And it had to come from non-Jews in order to bring them into the process, so they will be able to take their part in the temple. Trump's role will be like Cyrus, the Persian king, I noted that there was a Balfour Declaration in 1917, and then Trump declared that in 2017. So the next step has to be taken on by Jews. They need to go to the Temple Mount in mass numbers, and that train we were talking about and other transportation systems can be used to make this possible. All right, now we get into 2018. January 15th, 2018, high-speed train necessary for the Third Temple. It's supposed to be completed by Passover. I don't think it was. I think I would have heard about it, but I'm not sure. But it'll be ready for next Passover, and that could be part of the fulfillment of my my prediction, my possibility theory could be too. March 5th, 2018. And I'm sorry I'm going through all this. I know it's long, but I wanted to give you like a background of things that are happening with the fulfillment of the Third Temple. And all this is part of it. So I'm trying to go through it fast, but I'm also want to explain it so you can see the progression of what they're doing to prepare for this Third Temple. March 5th, 2018, global support for the Third Temple coin. They already minted 1,000 coins, and it looks like they already minted a whole bunch more because the demand was so great for this. Cyrus and Trump is on one side of the coin, which is crazy, and the other side is a picture of the Temple Mount. And so I already said, yeah. So they already printed out more, and it looked like it was a big success for that. And also, I wanted to mention too, the train system. They're talking about putting it in Trump's name, using Trump's name in the title of their new train that's going to deliver all these people to the Temple Mount. March 8th, 2018, silver half shekel mitzvah protecting the souls of the IDF soldiers. It's now possible to purchase a silver half shekel that can be displayed at home or stored in a vault for use in the Third Temple, or it can be given to the IDF soldiers to protect from enemies. There's a biblical commandment that every Jewish man was required each year to give a half a shekel to the temple. And, that was back in biblical days, back in the first and second temples. But they're talking about doing that again, to make it, to keep everything on track with all the traditions of the Third Temple. March 12th, 2018, Third Temple calendar launches on the New Year of Kings. And it's designed for use in the Third Temple. And again, check out the articles. I'm just briefly mentioning them. March 19th, 2018, the Sanhedrin calls on Arabs to take the role in the Third Temple as prophesied by Isaiah. The Sanhedrin has 71 elders calling on the sons of Ishmael to take the role in supporting the Third Temple. So there's all these different tribes and descendants of Jews and Arabs that need to fulfill this prophecy. All right, March 20th, 2018, reviving biblical wedding customs in preparation for the Third Temple. There was a tailor who recreated the customs and the attire, the dresses, the crowns for the Third Temple for wedding ceremonies. The crowns were made from alloy of brass that appears like solid gold when polished. And they're going to use real 14-karat gold crowns when the Third Temple is actually completed. And they're going to make it like the Song of Songs from Solomon. March 22nd, 2018, Trump will pave the way for the Third Temple. The Third Temple will be prepared by descendants of Edom as a reparation for destroying the Second Temple. The Third Temple will be rebuilt by non-Jews, and only kosher animals will be allowed to be eaten, and I'm probably for the sacrifice too. Leviticus 11, you can refer to that for that part. There's 4 forbidden animals to eat, and one of them is the pig, and they cannot eat those. So the Third Temple is going to be rebuilt by non-Jews, meaning descendants of Rome, or what they consider Christianity, and that's maybe where Trump comes in. Trump's name in Hebrew in Gematria numerology is 424, which stands for Moshiach, Messiah. from the house of David. Now we know that Trump is not the Messiah, but he's helping in this thing, getting the third temple done. March 27, 2018, Passover sacrifice reenactment. A full-dress reenactment as close as possible to replicating the one of the central ceremonies in Judaism and as it is prepared in the temple. And the entire ceremony is in the pictures in that article. So that's the Passover sacrifice reenactment. And then last one is April 2nd of 2018, which was yesterday. The barley was harvested for the third temple wave offering. And you can go in that and see that they have a bunch of pictures of how they did all the, how they harvested the grains, and then they sieved it. What's the word I'm looking for? Sorted the grains out, sieved it, filtered it. You know what I mean. And the grains are made into loaves of bread for an offering at the temple once it's done. So there's that part. Okay, so there's the background of the last year and a half of what they're doing in preparations for the third temple to be finished. So now here's where my predictions and possible theories come in. All right, first off, Trump announced back in December that the United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital. And the United States has a deal of the century peace plan drawn up already that hasn't been announced yet. And that would Trump said that they were going to announce this peace deal soon. Well, one of my predictions is maybe, what if the United States, whoever goes over to the Middle East on May 14th or the 15th, because it's supposed to be May 14th, but now I'm hearing dates of May 15th is their anniversary, but it should be the 14th. Maybe that's the Mandela effect, I don't know. But they said they will announce it soon, but they didn't say when. What if the United States, no matter who goes over there, if it's Trump or Pence or some other official, what if they announce at the proposal, this proposal of a peace treaty, a peace plan, at this embassy opening and the anniversary of Israel's independence? And I'm thinking that they might have to have UN troops in there to protect this embassy and the celebration, because I know that the Palestinians and Hamas are marching, protesting all the way up until that date. Whoever's calling, you'll have to wait a minute. I'll call you back. So that's one of my predictions. Maybe that'll be announced at this ceremony. All right, now here's another one. What if, now here's where something big, this could be big, the big thing. What if Israel announces on that day, May 14th or the 15th, that they are going to restore and rebuild Jerusalem unto the Messiah? Well, that would be the commandment that would usher in Daniel's 70 weeks. There's something big. Now, if that's true, then we know there's only 70 weeks left until the midpoint of the tribulation. Now, I know no man knows the day or the hour, and there's where my other prediction could come in. So just hold on a minute, please. Bear with me. Many people have already taught, many Bible prophecy people have already said that Daniel's 70 weeks has already happened with the announcement of rebuilding the second temple. But what if the Daniel 9 is actually literal prophecy and not this 490 years? What if it's an actual 490 days? The 70 weeks, which would be like a year, 4 months, 4.5 months, something like that. And, what if it's not already fulfilled, but what if it's still yet to come? That's what I'm throwing out there as a new theory on this. I'm not saying it's true or not, but maybe we should be looking at it as a literal interpretation. And if that was true, that would mean that we are in the first half of the tribulation right now. And it's from Daniel 9:24 through 27. So hold on, I'm going to get that and we're going to read that. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry this is a long video, but it's a lot of information that I wanted everyone to hear, and not just my predictions, but the background of the whole third temple thing. All right, Daniel 9, and we're starting at verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring into everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and the prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Verse 25, know therefore and understand. See, this is something that we can understand. I know we don't know the day or the hour, but we got time markers in here. Now, still bear with me. I still got another possible theory coming up that might explain this part. Know ye therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. And verse 26, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And verse 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many, the Antichrist, for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Now, verse 27, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. A lot of people are preaching, saying that the week is actually 7 years. And then, in the midst of the week is 3.5 years. Could be true. I'm not saying it's not. But what if it's literal? What if it's actual literal? That there's actually 70 weeks, and when the commandment goes out, there's 70 weeks, and in that last week, the daily sacrifices start and get stopped in the middle of that week. There's lots more coming with me explaining this. So what I'm suggesting is that maybe it's a possible literal interpretation, not something that's already passed or something that is 490 years or 7 years. Instead, it's just 7 days, an actual 7 days. So also we have another part of Daniel 2 I just wanted to go into. Daniel 12, 10 through 13. The daily sacrifice is taken away. And from the time the daily sacrifice is taken away, and I'll just read it, it'll be better. All right, we'll go back to verse 10. So we got Daniel 12, 10 through 13. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So if we're wise, we can understand, what's coming. On verse 11, and from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 2,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth, and cometh to the 2,305 and 30 days. But go thy way till the end, for thou shalt rest, and stand thy lot in the end of days. And I'm going to try to explain that as best I can. So if it's literal, the 69th week, they will start the daily sacrifices. In the middle of the week, 3 days, 3.5 days, I'm guessing 3.5 days, is middle of the week, this daily sacrifice shall be taken away by the Antichrist. And then after that, the Antichrist will be revealed as he stands in the temple. I'm not so sure what the extra 45 days is. Blessed is he that makes it to the 1,335th day. Daniel, it says Daniel's rests and he stands in thy lot at the end of days. Is he going to be here at the end of days with us, or is he going to be there at the end to rise with the dead in the second resurrection? I already said that. And but what if this announcement was after? Now here's another thing. Now here's where it comes in with the time part, because it says no man knows the day or the hour. But if something happened and we lost track of time, just hear me out now. Okay, so if this announcement was, the announcement's made after an event or a pole shift, And the rebuilding was after the event, because in the Bible it says the street and the wall will be rebuilt, not remodeled or refurbished. It says it will be built again. So wouldn't it have to be destroyed first? Again, it could be relating to the second temple. But if this is a literal interpretation, maybe this is possible. The commandment could be after an event. Now, there's two possibilities. It could either mean the commandment was after an event, and they already widened the streets and they're building transportations. The wall's already built too. So another thing that it says is even in troublous times. Now, in troublous times could mean now, because look at what's happening in the Middle East and Israel. They're having a lot of troublous times. Or could it mean troublous times as in an event happened, like the pole shift? And then, after, let's say the pole shift did happen and, the world is, a lot of destruction in the world and they have to rebuild everything. Israel may find it crucial to build this, the city back for the sacrifices for the third temple and all that. So this could be after an event or it could be before. And then it also says in the Bible that there'll be a great earthquake that will level 1/10 of the city and 7,000 people will die. That maybe that earthquake is part of the pole shift. And then I got one more thing here too. Does the Antichrist sign a 7-year peace treaty or just the 1-week covenant or both? And then one more thing I have from Revelation 11, 1 through 13. I'm going to read it. And I'm sorry this is so long, but I could have broke it up into 2 parts, but I put it all together. So just thank you for bearing with me here. Revelation 11, 1 through 13. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. And verse 2, But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months, which is 3.5 years. Verse 3, And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Verse 5, And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in his manner be killed. Verse 6, These have power to shut heaven, and that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over the waters, and turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues as often as they will. Verse 7, And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. Verse 8, And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Verse 9, And they of the people and kindreds of tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3.5 days. 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put into graves. And they that dwell upon the earth, verse 10, shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And verse 11, And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And then verse 12, And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. So, me going with the witnesses now. The 3.5 days. Could that be the 3.5 days that was missing from the daily sacrifices? The daily sacrifices only lasted 3.5 days, and then the Antichrist stopped it. Could be the missing 3.5 days. That would be part of the 1,290 days. I'm not sure, but that's just another thought there. So there it is. I'm sorry it took so long, but I had a lot of information, and I hope that people will find this interesting, for one, and insightful, and hopefully maybe you learn something, and maybe if there's something that you know, you can add something in the comments, because I'm not saying I'm know the Bible really well. I know it good, I would say, at the best, not great. And there's a lot of stuff from Daniel, Revelation, that, still confuses me, and, I don't know the answers to everything. So that's where you guys can chime in and make a comments about something that you heard in here that maybe I said wrong, or maybe you think could be something else. Because I'm not saying this is, I'm just throwing possibilities out there. But the main possibility could, when the embassy opens and Israel has their 70th anniversary, could that usher in Daniel's 70 weeks? It's just a possibility. And, I meant to say at the very beginning of the video, I don't want to scare anybody, but, this is just all part of Bible prophecy. And, if this truly, it could be, if May 14th, 15th, if that was the day that the announcement came, we would have 70 weeks till the midpoint of the tribulation. Now, another thing that I wanted to say about the time part of it, no man knows the day or the hour. If a pole shift happened and, electricity, power grids are out everywhere, and clocks are down, everything, nothing would work because of all the electromagnetic fields. So nobody would know the day. Nobody would know the hour. We wouldn't know. Everybody would be in survival mode. No one's going to be concerned about what time of day it is or what day it is. And then also another possibility too is if we, Planet X passes by and it stops the rotation of the Earth, and then we have a pole shift, and then it goes back, and we go out of orbit, and the days are shortened. Now the moon and the sun will give 1/3 less light. If that was interpreted as in 1/3 of less days and nights, then we would have like 16-hour days, or, whatever. Obviously it wouldn't be consistent all the time. It would start out at 24, then we go down 23, 22, whatever, and it would keep shortening. So then there would be another way we would never know the day or the hour. Because if our days are shortened, especially if it's a gradual, where it's 24 and then it goes to 23 hours, 45 minutes, 23 and a half hours, 22, and then it just goes down to 16 eventually, we would never know the day or the hour. And that would fit the Bible prophecies. I'm not saying it's correct, but just let me know what you think about that, because it could be, and we wouldn't know. But another thing is the commandment to restore Jerusalem. Is that going to happen before or after a pole shift or in some kind of event? Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please leave comments. Don't leave any bad comments, please. I'm not saying I know everything. So I'm saying right now, this is just possible theories. So if anyone says, "Oh, you're a liar" and all this, I'm not. I'm just trying to throw out possibilities. As we're trying to understand Bible prophecy, I believe as each day gets closer to the end, we will be revealed more. So why not throw out some possibilities, especially something that fits the no man knows the day or the hour, and it does fit. So let me let guys know what you think about that, and comment. But let's do a little quick prayer to end this. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for allowing me to share this information, and please let it touch people where they can understand what you're trying to say in this, and offer up other ideas if it relates to something. If somebody gets triggered an idea, please, Lord, let them send a comment so we can all benefit from maybe knowing something. Thank you, Lord. Please do with this video what you will. I pray it in your name, Lord. Amen. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. God bless. I love you guys.